Happy Wednesday, assholes. We have reached the championship round of the NFL. Only four teams remain, and they're all trying to buy a bid for the coveted Super Bowl championship. And I mean, who would have thought Detroit Lions? Not many people. Baltimore, yes. San Fran, yes. Kansas City, yes. So, I mean, you have three pretty solid teams that we expected, and then you have the outlier, of course, which is Detroit. Everybody's loving them right now. I guess. Do you want to break down a certain game first? Which way do you want to start the episode?
You want to recap the games quickly?
Yeah, let's go after the first games. We started our action last Saturday. I'm pulling up the games here. The divisional round, and it was the first game of the Saturday afternoon was Baltimore big over Houston. That's kind of what I expected. I thought Stroud's run was coming to an end, and I mean it's easy to beat fucking old man Flacco, but when they played the big dogs, they got shelled. That was my big takeaway from that one. Is Houston? I mean, a good season, of course. No one expected them to do anything. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they got shellacked to end the year. I don't think they were worthy, honestly, and it showed. And it showed. Baltimore beat them to pieces.
Yeah, you're probably right. Houston they didn't belong, but if you're a Texans fan, you're very fucking happy right now. If you're rooting for CJ Stroud, you're still happy with that season. I don't know if we've talked about it. What is CJ Stroud's ceiling career wise? Okay, give me a comparison to older players maybe retired at the end of their career.
I don't know. It's going to be tough to say because he's obviously talented, but he's playing in
I,
Houston. He's playing in Houston, and this is the best organization I think has looked in a long time. But still got to be weary. And he's Ohio State quarterback. There hasn't been one good Ohio State quarterback in our lifetime, and in our parents' lifetime, maybe even. So we'll have to see.
Did Matt Schaub win a ring?
No, the Texans have never won a Super Bowl.
Oh,
They've never been in the AFC Championship game.
wow. Okay, then you're really fucking happy if you're a Texans fan. You might see yourself there in 3 years or so. But
Well,
I don't know with that division. Obviously you're not going to think they're going to be a great team going forward. I said it before. I think they're going to win the division next year. But yeah, this is what you expected about the Ravens Texans. I don't know if this changed my opinion on either team really going into it. Texans just weren't there. Ravens are still good and obviously a Super Bowl contender. And we'll get into more of the Ravens Chiefs next week. I'm sure you've got some words to say about that game. But yeah, pretty expected. The only blowout all four games, so that was nice.
it's always nice when the shitty game is the first one. I'll get it out of the way and then give us
Yep.
three great ones right in a row. I think that was perfect. And it was kind of fun to watch. I kind of liked it. It was not a bad way to start my Saturday afternoon watching one of my least favorite teams get demolished. So I was loving that one. And we'll have to see if that success carries over this week. But it was a good showing from Baltimore. And I mean, if they put that kind of performance on this week, they should be Kansas City. Should. Let's see. And then I'll let you go ahead and Saturday night game. I mean, it was a tough way to go down, Sheets, but again, we were at the beginning of the year, we were sitting here wondering if the Packers would be even in a position to get into the playoffs, and they were, and they got in. And then they pulled the upset so far of the NFL playoffs, and then it's right there for the taking to go back to the NFC Championship game. But you just fell short. What do you have to say about the game? What do you have to say about the Packers season in general?
Yeah, so I was happy and pissed at the same time after that game. So I said last week I thought the writing was kind of on the wall, but I did not expect this game to be this close and have a lead for the majority of the game. So in the fourth quarter hit, and we're up a touchdown. I'm like, oh my god, we actually kind of belong here. Like, wait, this wasn't. We beat the shit out of the Cowboys, and maybe it was a fluke, whatever. And now we've got a 7-point lead in the 49ers in the late playoff game. Like, our team is good enough to We played well enough to win that game. We had the ability to win that game. We didn't, obviously, and that's easy to say, but that was the pissed off part. It's like, shit, dude, we could have easily won this game, and then we could have gone to Detroit and probably I mean, who knows what would have happened, but I think I would be pretty confident we could win that game too if we just beat the Cowboys and 49ers on the road. But then obviously, big picture, great season. We found our quarterback. He's going to be our quarterback for quite some time. Yeah, he didn't play the best against the 49ers defense in the rain with playoffs on the line. Would you like to see him not throw that pick at the end? Sure, but that's not really what it came down to. Incredible year. I'll be interested to see what our off-season moves are. We just fired Joe Barry, thank God. Yeah. But honestly, he tried to keep his job there for a little bit. The defense played okay in the playoffs and the last 2 weeks. But he's still gone. I'm happy about that. But yeah, great season. I'll take that. Like I said, if you would have said that at the start of the podcast, I would. And you said sign this right here, and this is what will happen. Yep, give me that. I'll sign that so quick.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, man. Like that was a great season, all in all. Very tough. It's always tough going down the playoffs. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Whether you get smacked, whether you lose in a close one, it's about all the same. It's tough always. So, I mean, that one's going to sting. Obviously, everyone wants to win the Super Bowl, but you got to put it in perspective. One game done to define the season, and he put up a fight and almost won. And I think it was another etch in the classic rivalry. I'd say it's a rivalry now. Green Bay and San Francisco. I mean,
well, do you have to win? Does one side have to win for it to be a rivalry? Because we have not done that.
It depends on who you ask. I mean, if you ask me, I think the Twins and Yankees is a rivalry. But if you ask Tolkien, he'd say no. So when your team loses a lot, you tend to think it's a rivalry. The other team says, we don't even think about you. But the other team, the winning team always says that. But it's a rivalry. It's a rivalry.
One thing I want to mention again, I've mentioned it a million times on this podcast, but one last time before I'm done about the Packers for quite some time. Youngest team in the NFL, Sheets. Yep. Youngest team in the NFL. Our skill players are all young. Quarterback's young. I'm happy. But that's it. I want to remind those Bills fans and Chiefs fans that we're coming for that ass probably in the next 2-3 years.
Look, only one team can say that in the entire league, that we're the youngest team. And usually when you say that, it's followed up by a team that's total dog shit. But you can say that after a very successful season. So I would be reiterating that point if I were you as well, as much as possible. And you ready at making steps in the right direction towards next year? Joe Barry, he sucked ass. He needed to go. He's lucky he made it through the season. I mean, they're winning games, so they had to keep him. But, I mean, there was some games are in the middle of the year where it's like, this guy might need to go. He might need to go. And so credit to him for sticking it through the rest of the season. And he honestly, in that last game, he put you in the spot to win. I mean, I don't think, he was to blame for that playoff loss, really, but he did need to go. And now, I mean, I was asking Packers fan, fellow Packers fan, Jacob Weisinger, who he wanted. And he wanted the Giants defensive coordinator who got fired, Wink Martindale, otherwise known as Stink Fartindale. So I was wondering what you think about him, maybe as a Packers defense coordinator.
I don't think Meisner, you could hire me and our defense would look better than it did this year. Like, I want someone who's obviously only defensively minded. I'd prefer someone who can stop the run because I feel like with our offense, for the next couple of years, we'll score enough points and not let people run the ball on us, take the early lead. So I don't really care. To be honest with you, I haven't really looked at my options. Wink Martindale, he kind of seems like a clown a little bit, but if he's going to make our defense better, then he can wear a red nose and a tie-dye afro. I don't care. So I don't have an opinion on that. I totally forgot. You wouldn't believe how pissed I was. Our kicker, Mr. Carlson. I hope to God he did not get on that plane ride back. No. Now listen, I'm not blaming the game on that kick because that's not what happened. Would have been nice and maybe helped us win? Yeah, probably. But that's not what this is about. That motherfucker, he missed the most kicks in the NFL for the entire league this year. Now, Sheets, if that's any other team, I got teams. There's teams in the NFL that switch kickers every 5 weeks. Why the hell was he our kicker going in the playoffs if he missed the most kicks in the entire league?
That's a question you'll have to ask Packers part owner Tyler Hovick. He would probably have the answer to that. He's in the board meetings.
I'm gonna text him right now.
Tyler Hovick, by the way, part owner in the Green Bay Packers. I forget what the price is to pay for a piece of it, but he put up the money. So shout out Tyler Hovick. He's got the certificate hanging on his wall to prove it. He'll know what to say about what's going on there. I mean, like I said, it was kind of the same thing with Joe Barry. It's like, hey, the operation's winning, so there's no need to rock the boat too much. Even a kicker, if the season's going fine, and especially if he's a young guy, it's like, hey, let's not shake things up because you can bring some bum off the streets and he can be fucking worse than the guy to begin with. So isn't he a rookie, right? He's a rookie or a very young guy?
Yeah, he's a rookie. He missed the PAT against the Cowboys. He missed an important field goal against 49ers, missed all the kicks in the world during the regular season. My thing is, I know we like to hang on to people and we don't trade very often. We draft and we build. If we're going to get rid of Aaron Rodgers a year earlier than maybe people will say, there's nothing wrong with getting rid of Carlson week 16, week 17 of the playoffs. There had to be a free. I would have taken Blair Walsh. Anybody.
You would have taken Blair Walsh? He had the worst missed field goal in the playoffs of our lifetime.
That's my point. That's my point, Chiefs.
I don't know. I think you got to give the young guy some credit. He might have stink, but I don't think you should. I don't think you shake things up. I mean,
do they have tryouts for kickers, or did people just draft their kickers, or do they hold like, hey, here's 20 people, everyone kick 20 field goals, and we'll decide from there?
There's tryouts for a kicker. There's tryouts for punter even, and when you go to camp, man, you're bringing anybody and everything in. You don't know what's going to stick, who's going to shine. So yeah, there's all. I mean, you could have a vet kicker. You could have, Adam Vinatieri. They'll still sign a backup in the. I mean,
can I go to those tryouts?
Huh?
Where do I sign up for these tryouts?
I don't think they do that anymore for the NFL. That was back. I mean, they used to probably do that back in the day. There's that movie with Mark Wahlberg where he joins the Phillies or when he joins the Eagles. I don't think they do that anymore. I think they invited. I don't think it's open invitation. But they'll call kickers up to be, hey, what are you doing? And those guys are training all the time. These kickers will never stop. I mean, even if they're free agent, they're still fucking hustling. They're doing their shit.
I would have signed Vinatieri even if he hadn't kicked the ball in 2 years.
Adam Vinatieri would not be a suitable kicker. I can tell you that from experience. His last season when he was 45, which was 3 years ago now, he was awful. He would not have been better than Anders Carlson.
Anders, what a name, Anders.
He's like Swedish, Norwegian?
I don't know. I always think of Workaholics when I hear Anders. Have you ever seen that show?
I have, yeah.
Enough about the kicker. I'm done about the Packers. Great season. Cut the kicker. New DC. Let's go on to 2024.
All right. Let's go to the Sunday games. And like you said, things got interesting after that first game. We had an all-time classic, I thought, Saturday. That was a great game. I love that one. And then Sunday, maybe it wasn't the best of the bunch, but it was still pretty damn good. Detroit hangs on. I mean, it was pretty well in balance. Detroit came out kind of flat, but they put the whooping on them in the fourth quarter. And I think it was tied going in the fourth quarter, and they just dominated. Won by 8 points. Todd Bowles just threw he said the game was in the bag after 36 seconds. He had a timeout, and the Lions were kneeling it. It would have been fourth down. One possession game. You're down 8. He says no. There's no point in delaying it. It's the playoffs. We're down 8 points. We can get the ball back. It doesn't matter though. 30 seconds. Yeah, I don't want the ball. Season's over. What was your thoughts about that? I mean, the Lions are moving on, but we haven't done an asshat of the week in a while. That was some giant asshattery right there. What was that all about? And then we can talk about the Lions moving on.
What? Sorry, what are you talking about?
The Buccaneers could have got the ball back with 30 seconds left. It was 3rd and 12, and the Lions they kneeled it on 3rd and 12. They're like, hey, this game's over. But the Bucs had a timeout. Could have stopped the clock with 36 seconds left.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
got the
no. You
ball
got to
back.
call that timeout.
And then they asked Todd Bowles about it, and he's like, the game was over. We would have got the ball back with like 20-some seconds and no timeouts, down 8. The game was over. So you would have got the ball back. It's like isn't week 5, buddy. It's the playoffs.
You cannot, honestly, I'd fire him. You can't do that. You can't. Yeah, a regular season game, you could maybe get away with that if you're Andy Reid. If you're Todd Smoking Bowles and you've got a chance to win a playoff game, I don't care if it's 1 second. If you have 1 second, you give your boys just one play, at least an opportunity to play.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well not show up. That I forgot about it. It's been 3 days now since that fire Smoking Bowles. Not, I mean, at least let's do something. That can't happen. Someone's got to let him know.
And then he answered the question. He's like, there was no point in delaying the inevitable. I was like, what are you talking about, dude? You would have got the ball back down 1 score. Yeah, you had to get the 2-point conversion, but you have the ball back. Like, what are you talking? Like, you would kill to get the ball back.
Yeah. That I don't know. I don't think any other coach in the league besides McCarthy maybe makes that decision.
McCarthy would have called a timeout. He would have put his running back at center and would have got it. Wouldn't have worked, but he would have called a timeout.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I don't know. That was proof to me that there is other powers at play when it comes to this league there. I thought it was a little odd. But then the Lions are moving on to the NFC Championship game. I mean, I forget, what was your initial analysis of them at the beginning of the year? I was pretty high on them. I don't think I had them in the NFC Championship game, though. We'll have to go back and look at the tapes. I mean, what do you got to say about them?
I was pretty high on them. I remember mentioning it on the pod. They ripped off like 7 wins in a row to end the year last year, one of them being against Green Bay. So I was on them, and then I think about like week 6 or 7, maybe a little later, I was like, "Yep, they're division winners, no doubt." And then I don't know if I was ever on them like Super Bowl contenders. I did not think they'd get this far. I'm a little surprised. If you're in the Lions draft room, you were ecstatic with this game. Jahmyr Gibbs went off. All those people talking shit. He was the difference maker. He had 74 yards and a touchdown, and then he had 40 yards on the ground or through the air too. So and then Laporta had, what did he do? He had 9 catches, 65 yards. So if you're in the draft room with the Lions, you're like, yep, we fucking nailed that. And then also, if you're one of those people who've been cussing David Montgomery and be like, why are we not giving Jahmyr Gibbs the ball? You like this game too. I mean, Montgomery, they split 50-50 basically, but Gibbs way outran Montgomery. 3.3 yards a carry for David and 8.2 for Jahmyr Gibbs with a touchdown. So now, if you ask me if they have a chance this week, I don't think so.
Ooh.
But they outlived my expectations. That's for sure. You've been pretty high on them all year, haven't you?
I have been pretty high on them. In fact, the other day I placed a feature on Sam Laporta to win Super Bowl MVP. Because
what'd you get it at?
Fucking some insane shit, 18,000 or 1,800 something. But what I'm trying to say is the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. And I don't know if he's going to be the MVP or not, but the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. I didn't just place that on a random dude. I placed that on a guy on the team who I think is going to win it all. So I'm telling you guys right now, Detroit covers the spread this week. They win the game. They go to the Super Bowl, and I think they win again. But I do believe they're going to win this week. We'll get to Super Bowl when we get there, but I think they win it all as of now. I know damn sure they're winning this week.
Wow, this is my 4th. If you had to ask me to put them in order and who I think will win the Super Bowl this year, that they're 4th for me. That's crazy. What makes you think? This is the first time I'm hearing of this Lions Super Bowl out of you. Why is this?
Okay, well, so the Niners won in a squeaker last week against the number 7 seed. and now they set the line against a red-hot Detroit team at 7. Very fishy, in my opinion. It doesn't make any sense to me. They barely won against a 7 seed. Now they're back to Detroit. Yeah, we think they're going to by 7. And I just think that's all wrong. I like Detroit in this spot. I like them as an underdog. When we talk about the AFC, I have similar sentiment with how that game's going to go too. I like the dogs this week. I like Detroit. No one's betting on them. Like I said, there's no fucking reason that San Francisco should be favored by that many points. None at all.
So I hear you, and I'm obviously on the opposite side. My biggest lock of this going into this weekend, actually, a teaser. It's 49. I know we have different. Chargers have hired Jim Harbaugh. That's interesting.
Whoa, let's go.
That Doyle just said that in the chat. That's breaking news from Lamb on the Line. If you're first to hear it, Doyle broke the news for you.
Let's go.
But we'll talk about that when Doyle comes on. I don't think the 49ers were so heartbroken and felt screwed over when they lost last year and had the whole Purdy incident, and they lost to the Eagles. I don't think there's any chance in hell that those guys, Fred Warner, George Kittle, all those guys, do the exact same thing again 2 years in a row to the Detroit Lions. I just don't see that happening. I think they have so much fire under their belly after last year. They gotta have this win. They're gonna have this win.
I mean, we'll have to see. I wasn't very impressed with San Francisco last week. Your boy Brock Purdy didn't look good. The lights were almost too big for him, almost blew it. And now you have Mr. Jared Goff, proven winner, been to a Super Bowl before, with a fucking powerhouse of a team in Detroit. You have Eminem behind him. San Francisco, I don't think it's any match. I think this line is fucking all wrong, and Detroit's gonna win this game, in my opinion.
Now let's talk about that, Sheets, because you sent me a very interesting snap on Sunday during this game, and you said something to the effect of Brock Purdy is fucking terrible or fucking sucks or something like that. And I said back to you, well, you've had him as your top 5 quarterback all year, every week in your rankings, and you've said it on the pod multiple times. He's a great quarterback, and the one game and heavy rain and winds, he has a bad game, and you want to shut him down already. You're like the media, Sheets.
No, it's not just one game.
Yeah.
It's not just all of a sudden. It's not just one game. This goes back to that Baltimore game where that was I forget what week that was specifically, but it was at the time of the year where it's here we go. This is it. This is the real deal. What do you got? And he looked awful, and he's looked awful since then. Maybe he had a good game against fucking Seattle one week. I don't know, but he almost blew it last week. Almost did. And now you get, like I said, Mr. Jared Goff coming into town. Detroit Detroit it's a slap in the face to put them as a touchdown and extra point dogs. So dumb.
I think Purdy's gonna drop his nuts on you this weekend and make you lose his. I think he's gonna perform, and then everyone's gonna build the 49ers up for the Super Bowl winner, and then it'll go the opposite way.
That could be the case. I mean, we've seen that a couple different times. Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, fuck. That could happen too. I'm so miffed by that line, -7. This should be a 3-point spread or a 4-point spread.
I do agree with that. The line's a little fishy. A whole touchdown.
Right. It seems like the public's all over San Francisco. No one's giving Detroit a chance, man. Nobody. So that's why I'm going the opposite. I'm going the opposite route. And before we get our guests on here, we can break down the AFC Championship game to close out last weekend's divisional round. I mean, again, we have two different perspectives on this league, but I knew this was going to happen. I had Kansas City on the spread on the money line. Patrick Mahomes will be an underdog so very few times in his playoff career. and I'm going to bet on him every time. I ain't going to when he's an underdog in the playoffs, I'm not going to pass up on that once. So I said I like Detroit this week. I like Kansas City again this week for the same reason. Patrick Mahomes is yet again an underdog. I saw what he did last week, disposed of the Bills. I think he does it again. Taylor Swift season. They're going to bring that motherfucker into the Super Bowl. Don't be dumb.
I was also on the Chiefs spread and tease them. I did not want to put my money on the Bills, my hard-earned money. Josh Allen, although they didn't, I was wrong about something. I thought if they lost, it'd be because Josh Allen threw a pick or two. He actually played great. He
did.
He had 72 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 186 passing yards. I mean, no turnovers. And they got their breaks too, dude. They had their chance to win that game. They'll fumble out the end zone. And who's Jody Wagner again?
Jody Wagner is just an old-time friend of the show.
Oh,
she's always been
okay.
spun around.
Good. Nice. We'll keep listening, Jody Wagner. But this is what I tell you all year. I just told you something I was wrong about. I'll tell you something I was 100% correct about. The Bills are the Cowboys. I don't care how good, even with the Bills feel like it's their year. This year felt like, okay, they're playing at home. You know, you could beat them. You got a arguably better team. Yeah, you're banged up a little bit, but this is just a storyline of the Bills for the next 10 years, I think, is they look great all regular season, and everyone thinks they can win a Super Bowl, and they're going to lose every single time before they get there. I don't know if they'll play in a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. I don't think they will.
Look, and the NFL soap opera, you got to play your role. Teams got to play their role. That's the Buffalo Bills role, going back to the 80s. Scott Norwood, wide right in the field goal in the Super Bowl. Bill Parcells and the Giants win. I think that was 86, something like that. They lose 5 straight Super Bowls in a row. 4 straight, right? 4 or 5, either way. And then they just were dog shit awful for 20 years. They thought J.P. Lossman was going to be their franchise quarterback. Then they're finally good again. But you know what? Their ceiling is still the same. They're the Buffalo Bills. That's what they're there to exist for. I mean, until something changes, I don't see it happening. Maybe Josh Allen ends up being the Phil Rivers of the NFL. The new era of the NFL. We'll have to see. It just
how about
sucks.
that fake punt?
I got a whole different opinion on you. That whole game was just giant rig job, man. I mean, the Sunday night games are always the weirdest ones. Damar Hamlin, he has a heart attack on the field last year. Now he's playing again. He's going to come back player of the year. They ran a fake punt to him, okay, when they shouldn't have ran a fake punt at all to anybody, but it goes to him. And then the field goal looks like it's going right down the middle, swings to the right at the end. They got all kinds of calls. I mean, the Chiefs had the worst break of the game, having the guy fumble it into the end zone, and it still felt like they were getting fucking all the breaks. I mean, whether it was the hold call, whether it was the fucking illegal contact, that's just how it goes, man. Kansas City was going to win that game. That's why I put my money on it. That's how it goes. I hate to say it. If you're a Bill, I wanted the Bills to win, but they weren't going to. They just weren't going to win. I knew that.
Yep.
And if you're a Bills fan, my heart goes out to you. You gotta just wake up. You weren't going to win that game. You weren't. We'll have to see what happens this week. I still think they go with Kansas City, but this is not as certain. Baltimore and San Fran, I just don't think they're going to do the colors thing. Everyone's talking about the Super Bowl logos color shit. I fucking saw that a year ago. I knew about that after the second year. Like, this is the second year in a row that happened. But now everybody and their grandma's talking about it. So I think a bunch of fat ass is going to sit down this week and put money on the favorites. And I think the whole thing goes to shreds. I think you're looking at a Detroit, Kansas City Super Bowl. Because of the way I view it, it's Vegas is going to get their teams in. If Vegas wants to get their teams in, that's how it goes. I could be all wrong. I don't know. That's just where I'm at, in my honest opinion. I'm not fucking joking.
Yeah, no.
But I'm being serious. I really think that the upset happens this week, and you have Detroit, Kansas City. I think that would be pretty dope too.
I'm listen, we all know your stance on the rigness. We all know my stance on the rigness. But if there was a moment for the NFL, or if they do have any influence, it's Chiefs and Mahomes that they're going to use it on, with all the Kelsey shit, all the Taylor Swift shit. So this is a time of the year where I kind of give in to that a little bit. I do think there's going to be some weird shit going on next week with the Chiefs and Ravens, and I will be betting on the Chiefs as well. Again, Patrick Mahomes is underdog. I think, um, yeah, like I said, if there's any influence at all, it's going to be for the Chiefs. So I will. That's also why I mean I've got them extra protection at plus 10.5, but I'll probably bet on them plus 3.5 as well. Maybe even money line too.
I mean, did you see what happened with New England in the 2000s and the 2010s? It's not just sometimes, yes, the Patriots had the best team, and sometimes, yes, the Chiefs do have the best team in the league. But there's other times where it's like, damn, they're winning. That's what they're doing, huh? The Falcons are up by 20 points at half. They're up by 25 points at halftime. All they got to do is just run the ball, take care of business. No, you fucking thought. And I hate to say it because I despise Kansas City with every fiber of my being, but I do not think for 1 second that Baltimore wins this game. And it's not because Lamar's not good enough. It's because the Vegas powers come in and the fucking Super Bowl logo thing is too mainstream, man. Pat McAfee's talking about it. So now everyone's talking about it. And that's what they think. That's the conspiracy now is, that's what they're going to do. So now everyone's hopping on that. I just think they pull the rug out on the whole fucking thing this weekend. Upset. That's just what I think. And I think in terms of money.
I'm on the Chiefs. I'm on the Niners.
If the best teams are going to win, it's going to be Lamar putting a whooping on them. And if the best teams show up, then it should be San Francisco winning. I don't think by 7 points, motherfucker, but they should probably win. They're better team. So
I agree with that. I agree with that.
All right. So I was rambling a little bit there. We're past 6 o'clock. We have two guests coming our way here. First guest is Ravens fan Mason Doyle, a good high school buddy of mine. Welcome to the program, Mason.
How we doing, boys?
We're doing good.
Am I coming through clear?
We can hear you perfect.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it. You're in the AFC Championship game. You disposed of Houston this week. What are your thoughts? Do you think you can beat Patrick Mahomes in the system?
Yes, 100%. I don't know if we will, but certainly can. Much more confident after last weekend, significantly more confident. I think if you were to sit down and draft current NFL players, one of the first quarterbacks that would come into the conversation was C.J. Stroud and made him look ridiculous. At some point, you would have a conversation about Brock Purdy and made him look ridiculous. Maybe not as much the last few weeks, but the start of his ridiculous times were definitely when the Ravens picked him apart. Was it 4 picks for him and then 1 for Darnold? So at least it wasn't just him, right? It was also Sam Darnold. But C.J. Stroud didn't throw a touchdown against the Baltimore Ravens. And C.J. Stroud is nice. C.J. Stroud is a very good football player. I would love to be rooting for the Texans that game. In their first it was kind of the first time we realized, like, we knew C.J. Stroud was good all year. We knew the Texans were better than expected. But once they're in the divisional, it's like, holy shit. Texans made the divisional, you know. It was really a shame I couldn't be excited about that and excited for our buddy Breyer, you know. But had to take care of business at the bank and definitely did. It was almost a boring game to watch because it was an annihilation. You mentioned the Super Bowl being the Chiefs and the Lions. Do you think they frame that as a rematch? It was one of the best regular season games. I mean, that was a fantastic game.
I still think that's one of the best games of the year, man. I know it was week 1, but that was a great game. You would start the season because they started that with the Thursday night game. It was the first game of the year, first game of regular season. So you start the regular season, and then you end it the same way. I think that would be sweet. I mean, you could frame.
I could see some of that bullshit, kind of, yeah. So it begins, so it ends, kind of thing.
Something like that.
Yeah, I could definitely picture that. I'm going to be at the game this weekend. I'm going to be at the AFC Championship. Down in Baltimore, they do the tailgate. It's a pretty neat little tailgate setup. DJ Diesel is going to be there. If you're not familiar with DJ Diesel, that is Shaquille motherfucking Neal. So I'm going to be down there. I'm going to get the vibes, and I'll have a pretty good idea from section 109, row 28, seats 3 and 4, exactly what's happening. But I think if anybody can, I think that a game could only. I'm also on the rigged bullshit, right? I think all of us are. I think a lot of fans at this point are. But I think that there's such a thing as to win by 4, you got to win by 20. Right. And I think if there's a team that could do that right now, it is the Baltimore Ravens. They have made some very good players and some very nice systems look very stupid in the last few weeks. And in the game where they were most doubted, which is coming off of a bye week, worst thing that ever happened to them in 2019, they handled business in a very beautiful way. I mean, they made the Texans look dumb, which it's hard to do that when they shouldn't have been there anyway. I think their fan base is still very happy that they were even in the game, but that was a game where they had to kind of stop and go like, oh, there's levels to this shit, and we ain't there. What do you think about that? I feel like I'm rambling.
No, there's definitely. I mean, I forget who it was. The NBA guy said that. Some dude said it on like a podcast not too long ago. That definitely goes on where I don't know how it works exactly. We know there's the rig bullshit. Our high school chat, Russell, by the way, I think everybody is in on it. I think everyone knows to some extent. Yep. Maybe not as much as me, but I think everyone kind of agrees in our chat that there's some weird shit going on. So we've kind of established that. But I think you can beat it. I definitely think you can. Like they said, sometimes you got to win by a certain amount. So you cover, things like the refs are going to do their thing for one way, but sometimes you can overcome it. I do think that's possible.
Yeah.
I'd like to jump in on that because I'm kind of with you, Doyle. If there was absolutely no influence and this thing was not rigged at all, I think the Ravens win this game 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Roquan Smith is way too good on defense. The whole defense as one is insane and making people look stupid, like you said. But I disagree. I think if the NFL wants the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, the NFL will get the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
I can agree with that. I think that there's a lot of slant in the way things are covered. I'm watching the Niners game the other day. The Niners eke out a victory over the Packers, and then at some point I hear the best linebacking duo in the game. Dude, Patrick Queen stands next to Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, even at this point, even with the entire public understanding what the Ravens are, you call them the fat fuckers or what was it, Peyton? But the average guy that sits down, works his 40. He's in his pool at work. He picks his wins based on like what I saw on SportsCenter this morning. That guy hears that and he believes that. Right? But the people who watch football go, you're Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. Another thing that kind of worries me, and I'm glad you brought up the defense, the big thing that gave me pause, and I don't know if a lot of people took the time to consider this, the Texans didn't give up 1 sack. What the hell's going on there? The Ravens defense can't pick up a sack against the Texans. The Chiefs have a much better setup there. Right. The Chiefs have a more elusive quarterback and a better offensive line. You have Laramie Tunsil on the Texans. I don't know a single other offensive lineman, but I can tell you if I was playing on the D line, I would much rather play against the Texans than the Chiefs. And the Texans managed to keep our defense out of the backfield. Against a guy like Patrick Mahomes, against an offensive line like the Chiefs, I worry about that coming in because the only way to really break that system is to stop them behind the line of scrimmage. And if we can't do that against the Texans, I don't know what's going to change in 7 days where we can do it against the Chiefs. Obviously, we were good all year. Maybe it's a fluke. Maybe it's an anomaly. If anybody can fix something like that, it's Mike McDonald, the former coworker of the NFL's next defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, who will be following Jim Harbaugh from Michigan for sure. That's my call. If I could bet that, I'd take that right now. Next Chargers defensive coordinator is Jesse Minter. But that worries me. That gives me pause for sure. I think I'm going down there to watch some bullshit and come away with a lot of anger at the NFL because I watched a rigged game and the Chiefs made it. But I'm going to be there because I do believe that the Ravens could win this one. I definitely believe that.
I hope you're wrong. I hope we're all wrong. I hope there's no influence at all and the Ravens walk away with a win. Have you been there before to the stadium?
I have. I was there. I was there when they played the Rams, the Kylan Wallace overtime touchdown punt return. So I was at arguably the best moment at the bank this year, and I'm going to be at the AFC Championship. The last time they made it, I was like 12.
Okay.
I don't want to be 37 years old when I get another shot at it. Fuck it. I'll spend the money. I'll get on that United flight. I'll pay $800 for 2 nights in a hotel room. I'm going to fucking be there. I'm going to enjoy that shit. And even if we lose, I will always have been at that game. I know we're undefeated in Super Bowls, so that's the one I got to get to. Get to that, and then Super Bowl's a bye week when the Baltimore Ravens make it.
I got one last question for you, and Meisner can ask some more questions. But I know some Ravens fans, most of them, they love Lamar. They want to keep him for a long time. There are some that are saying if he can't get it done, that, maybe we do need to change something. I don't know what it is, but are you on like Team Lamar 100%? I want him for the next 5 years, or if he loses this week, is it a product to the rigging? Is it a product that Lamar can't win the big games, or what? Where are you at as a Ravens fan with that?
I wouldn't call it a problem with the rigging or that Lamar can't win big games. Lamar Jackson is a 2-time MVP of the league by the time that the player awards come in. I couldn't be happier with who our quarterback is as a person, as a leader. The development he's seen, that's a huge thing. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was nice early and has stayed nice. Lamar Jackson has overcome some hurdles, and that's very human. I mean, that's easy to get behind as a fan. And when you're watching that contract negotiation, he won't get an agent, and you've got the Colin Coward of the world talking about how he's an idiot because he won't get an agent. Well, he held on to 6-8% of that huge bag he got. And I believe that if you bring home 2 MVPs, most likely, odds are minus 20,000. If you bring home 2 MVPs, you're doing your job at a level that, how many other people, 8 or 9 people in history? No, I don't want anybody else there. I understand it affects our cap. I understand that it's probably going to be the reason we can hold on to Justin Madubuike. We can't hold on to Patrick Queen. It's going to be the reason that we have to make adjustments and stay fluid. Good chance we lose Mike McDonald. Are we going to get another guy that can go out? Have Eric DaCosta go grab Kyle Van Noy, grab Jadeveon Clowney, turn those into effective players again. Are we going to find this system again? I don't know, but I feel very confident that Todd Monken's probably a pretty damn good OC, right? Nice little resume.
Yeah.
If you show up and you have control over Lamar Jackson, that makes things work. As this coaching staff is propped up by our success and they take off, Lamar is the piece on the offense. Roquan Smith is a piece on the defense, at least for the next few years. And if Lamar wants to move to a tax-free state for his retirement years or whatever, he's always a Raven. There's only 2 statues outside M&T Bank. There's Johnny Unitas. There is Ray Lewis. Put Lamar Jackson right next to that motherfucker. I love that guy. 100%. 100%. I love him as a person. I love him as a player.
I agree. I would be on that same page as a Ravens fan.
Before we let you go, give us your score prediction, your final thoughts. I'm awesome. That's pumped you're going to be there. I mean, AFC Championship game is a big deal. Even if you don't lose, you can be like the Colts and hang up the AFC finalist banner if you want to. So it's accomplishment. It is,
and it's already been an awesome season. There's already been so many good moments, right? I think everybody's kind of at that point by the time we made it to a conference championship. It's been a Super Bowl or bust mentality in the Ravens media and in the Ravens fan base this year from a lot earlier on than a lot of people saw it. A lot of things are going to change, but I think I think this could be the year. I'm excited about it. I can't make a prediction where they lose, and I don't think they win. I don't think they win based on breaking Patrick Mahomes down, because that just doesn't make sense to me. That's far too easy. The over-under is at 44.5, which is kind of the metric. It goes over at a high percent. If it's over 44.5, the over-under, it goes on. It's right at 44.5. I think this is a high-scoring game, an exciting game. Probably totally wrong on that, but I'm going against what I would think as a member of the public. Ravens eke it out 30-27. Ravens eke it out 30-27. I'd love some free football, though. Those tickets were fucking expensive. I'd love to see some overtime.
Absolutely. Hey, I think, we all kind of agree that I remember when the Colts play the Patriots all the time. It's like, dude, we have the better team, I think, but we still got to play them. So hopefully that does not come into play. I think, and obviously Detroit's a great story, but Baltimore, I think, is that second best story. Like you said, just how Lamar has just changed and overcome. He's kind of reinvented himself in ways. I love everything about him. He's a great guy, class act. So I would love to see Baltimore in. It'd be a perfect scenario. I think is Baltimore, Detroit. That'd be great. But we'll have to see. I'm glad you're going. Thanks for coming on, Doyle. We'll have to have you on again next week. Either way, I guess. But
I'd love to. Thanks for letting me ramble, boys. I appreciate it. You guys got a good thing going here. I enjoy it. You take care. I don't give a piss about none but the flock. All right. See ya.
See ya.
You got to get me in touch with it. You have to introduce me to him in person.
Oh, yeah.
He seems funny as shit. I got to have a couple Busch Lights with him.
You would love the high school boys.
Yeah. Get me in touch.
And one great guest leads into another great guest. Although this one is more of a solemn return, we have Jake Beck joining the program.
Yo, can you see me?
We can hear you.
How we doing?
Great, Beck. For those who don't know, he's on his way to the Kansas City Ravens game, so he's driving. But I see your wide right. Always go Bills. I tell you what, Meisner, I'm in a group chat with Beck and Funk, and it goes off pretty frequently. And I kind of thought that things would get out of hand with the Bills Chiefs going at each other. And I thought Beck would be freaking out and depressed, but he sent me a snap with a smile on his face like 20 minutes after the game. He was actually, I thought, took it pretty well. So are you in that same boat still, Beck, or are you a little more pissed off?
No. I mean, I'm not pissed off about it. I haven't been. I thought Josh Allen played really well. I mean, I thought with what we had there out on the field, I thought we played a pretty damn good game. I don't know. I mean, you knew it was going to happen. Aren't we living in the 90s like right now? Feels like it.
Yeah. I don't know if you were listening earlier, but I did say Josh Allen balled out. He didn't have any interceptions. I was wrong about that. Stolken was wrong about that. That was his big bet of the weekend.
Fuck that kid. I'm glad he lost his money on that.
But where now? I mean, what is going into next year? Do you want to see some changes? Is McDermott going to be there? Is like what's in the head of the? I know you just lost this week, but have you thought ahead at all?
McDermott will stay. Joe Brady will be the OC. I love that. They lost 2 games? It was Philly and Kansas City with him as interim OC. They'll keep him. They'll probably. I don't think McDermott will be the D coordinator. I could be wrong on that next year. I think they'll bring someone else in. Leslie Frazier will not be the guy. We're going to keep Diggs. There's no bullshit about that. We're going to keep him, and we're going to draft probably a guy in the first round if we even have that early in the draft. They need a top guy. Diggs, I don't know. they just need Gabe Davis wasn't a good comp with Stephon, I don't think. Don't get me wrong, Gabe Davis is a good wideout because he does a lot of the dirty work. But I don't know. I wouldn't be pissed if he walked away.
Gabe Davis is like, and Meisner, I'd wonder if you agree. He's like Al Lazard. He's great at like fundamental. Like he just not really does it for you in the air. He blocks well and he's big, but I don't. If I was a Bills fan, I wouldn't mind seeing someone new at that receiver slot.
I don't know exactly what they have pick-wise in the draft, but I don't know. They could possibly trade up and get a top 5 wideout. I don't really know what's out there on the board.
Meisner, if you were the GM of the Bills, what would you be doing in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, Leslie Frazier might need to go. He's a great – I mean, he's a Chicago Bear, member of the 86 Bears or 85 Bears, whatever the fuck they were, 85 Bears Super Bowl team. He was the Vikings head coach. He's been around. He knows defense, but you might need to move on from him. He's been there for quite a long time, and I think Diggs is unhappy. It seems like Gabe Davis, you're right, is not necessarily a great number 2 guy. So I mean, you just have to make a few tweaks, a few wrinkles. I don't think you have to blow the whole thing up. Just make a couple wrinkles, fix a couple wrinkles, make a few adjustments. I think you'll be fine. I don't think you fire the head coach. I think you keep McDermott.
So back, the Bills are out. They're done for, gone forever. What would you like to see it? Do you give a rat's ass about the NFC and AFC championship? Are you cheering for one team over another?
Yeah, I got the Niners and I got the Ravens. I want to see a Ravens just ass whooping. Just lay it on them. Fuck them. I want to see all those fucking fans in my office cry.
Because you work with a bunch of Chiefs fans?
Oh, yeah, that's all I work with.
Is that the most hated fan base? I know it's Meisner's most hated team. Is it your most hated fan base now and team?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I'm not around any other fan base, but they don't act like they've been there. That's the problem. It's like you've been there. We've been on the same path every single year, and you act like it's the first time.
Yeah, we should mention we were gonna also have Funk on. The Chiefs had won, obviously. Beck and Funk going back and forth. He's at a dinner with some buddies or something. I would love to hear what he would have to say though, because I'm sure, as most Chiefs fans are, he's confident going into this next game and confident he's going to win the Super Bowl. I just don't know if that's going to happen.
How could it not happen when you got the referee assignments like that, like they did that game?
Wait, you talking about the Bills game or the Ravens game?
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the Ravens game.
Yeah.
However, I will say, I'm not sure how many calls were had in the Bills-Chiefs game. I'm not blaming the refs. I thought they called a pretty good game. They let them play. Now, I don't know. I don't have the numbers or anything, but Sean Hockley, that fucking retard who reffed the Eagles game for us, was straight garbage. So he must have went to the eye doctor before that Chiefs game, before the Chiefs-Bills.
You know, you want to know a stat about Josh Allen? I should have mentioned this to Doyle because he would have liked this. Hope maybe he's still listening. But the team that beats Josh Allen in the playoffs has always lost their next game. In 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024 could be potentially this year. So that's 4 years straight where the team that – I don't know if that means anything, but I kind of like the stat.
Really?
Maybe Josh Allen he tires out the defense. He's a little more physical with them. I don't know what it is, but 4 years in a row, the team that beats Josh Allen has lost their next game.
I'll tell you what, if we can get a healthy Trey White and Milano back, Keep the guys healthy throughout the year. Josh Allen is not our problem at quarterback, by no means.
No.
I agree.
I mean, Stephon, yeah, he missed a couple balls and blah, 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 but hey, it is what it is. I face the noise like a real man.
That's good to hear, Beck. That's good to hear. So I've got a hard cutoff here coming up soon. I want all three of you. Doyle gave his, but let's do some Super Bowl or not Super Bowl. Let's do predictions and scores for each game. We'll start with Beck down there. Do both games.
I'm thinking, God, can I really see the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl? No way. I'm thinking Niners 30 no 27-24 Niners.
Okay.
And then I'm thinking Ravens Chiefs. Ooh, this is a tough one. I'm thinking Ravens Chiefs 31-27.
All right.
You like that?
Yeah. You should go place a bet on that. You'll probably get like plus 10,000 odds. You might be right.
Put a bet on that for me then.
I want to see how far off you are of Meisner's predictions, or if you guys are maybe similar.
Meisner, what do you predict?
I think we're going to see some shenanigans with the NFL and the referees this weekend. Unfortunately, I think they're gonna collude to steal it from Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to collude and rig it for their golden boy again. Taylor Swift, they asked why she wasn't going to play at the Super Bowl this year, and she said, well, I'm busy with other tour and recording and blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up. You're not playing the Super Bowl because your ass knows you're going to be at the game, motherfucker. Don't try to play that fucking stupid shit with me.
What's the score?
Oh, yeah. I think you're looking to what was the over-under he said again?
44.5.
44.5. I feel like, yeah. I think it's gonna go over. I do think it's gonna go over. So I think you're looking at like a 33-30 game. I think it goes way the fuck over. 33-30. I don't know. I guess I don't know what the weather is gonna be like out there. Even if it's a little rainy and shit, I don't mind that. I think unless there's fucking snow on the ground, I think it goes over. And then the NFC game.
Yeah, do the NFC game.
Who the fuck
I
is
think the Lions win 20-17.
What were you saying, Beck?
Yeah.
Who's winning these games that you're predicting?
Detroit wins and Kansas City wins.
God damn, dude. I hope you're wrong about that AFC game.
I hope I'm wrong too.
I cannot stand those motherfuckers.
No one can. They suck. They're the worst fan base.
I fucking hate all of them.
I think you're going to hear it for one more week, though, Sheets. I think the Chiefs are going to win in a barn burner. I think it's two quarterbacks that can score the fastest. I'm going to go 38-35 Chiefs. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, a lot of touchdowns. And then for the Niners-Lions, I think it's going to be 24-21. A little Bobby Stallings barbecue cheat prediction. So I'm going 49ers 24-21. Shout out Bobby.
All right.
Hey, who you got winning?
The Super Bowl?
No, the Niners-Lions.
I got the Niners winning by 3.
Okay.
Bobby Stallings game of the week.
All right. Hey, Meisner.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Do you think those magnets caused that miss by Tyler Bass, the magnets in the ball?
That's what it appeared to be. It appeared like it was going right down the chute, right down the dick, and all of a sudden, it was windy out, but fucking, I've never seen anything like that. It was like it was on a direct wasn't like it was going straight and then it kind of just blew it to the right. It went like a big fucking curve. It looked
Like your golf shot.
Like a golfer. Yes, it literally looked like a golf shot. The guy fucking at the tee box went flying. So,
oh shit! All
it's
right,
tough.
that's all I had.
Well,
Okay.
thanks for coming on, Goose. Thanks for letting us know
Absolutely,
the Bills and facing the
Absolutely.
business. So good job. And he's out.
All right, you got to go right at 6:30. So we'll end this, baby. Thanks for everybody who got up in here. AFC Championship, NFC Championship. We'll have to see what the